Welcome back, everybody, to episode 8 of Make the Cut with Erica and Dawn. Woo woo! Shout it out.
Woo!
Up, Erica.
We are here. We are here. How was your week? Was it good?
It was
Did you have a
good.
good
I
week?
had a good, yeah. How about you?
Awesome.
Yay.
It was a good week. It was a good week. Glad to be here. Excited for our contestant. Excited for our guest. I'm excited. It's gonna be a good one today.
It is. And like as always, we have to recap. So last week we had Mr.
We
Lorenzo
have to have a recap.
Pontagia, right? He was on the ballet dancer
Yeah.
from Cleveland Ballet. Amazing. He did
Right. A professional
choreography by
dancer.
a professional. He did choreography by Angelita Broad, and they were both originally, well, he's from Italy, she's from Orlando. They met
Okay.
at the school, they worked together, they put together the project. He later sent it to us to review, and he was amazing. And so, thank you again, sir, for that. Um,
Absolutely.
and with that, we had a lesson, right?
We did. We
Humility.
were just talking about humility and longevity, right? And for him to be a professional and yet still seeking that input on his skill, right? And not just
Yes.
feeling comfortable with being a professional, but still wanting to fine tune his
Yep.
instrument, his body. And so it was wonderful. And it was wonderful to see.
And you also mentioned how you ended up getting lots of work just by being humble and going up to, like, if you went to an audition, you would go up to the person and say thank you afterwards.
Absolutely.
And
So showing gracious, right? Being
hmm
gracious. And then we also talked about how even choreographers sometimes
oh yeah.
often prefer
hmm
to work with dancers or performers who they know can be easily taught, right? Or get along
Yes.
with the other cast members. Because sometimes it's easy to teach steps.
hmm
It's not easy to teach character. Right. And so
That's
we
the truth.
also talked about these dance teachers as well as these studios to try to insert that character into these performers as well. So it was
Yep,
good.
absolutely. It was a good a session last week, and this week is going to be even better because hopefully we get better every time.
Absolutely.
But guess who's back?
Who's back?
Kylie Taylor.
Miss
Now, if
Kylie.
you remember, she sang for us like
Yes,
two
she
or three
did.
weeks ago,
Yes.
and we had the pleasure of Mr. Maurice Lochner and Mr. Tony Rome. They critiqued
Yes.
and coached her for that. So thank
Right.
you again, guys, for that. Well, now
Yeah.
she's back dancing.
Okay. Look at that.
Girl, she dances, sings, and hopefully she acts.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
we
She's a future on
a
the way to
future
be
triple
triple
threat.
threat.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. I'm
and she's
ready.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we can't wait to see her perform. But again, before
Nice.
we go into it, tell everybody the rules, Erica. So what are the rules of Make the
Okay.
Cut?
So once again, for the rules from you make your submission. Once again, when you're making these submissions, please say slate, right? You have to do a slate. So you have to mention your name, say your age, maybe say what dance studio you're coming from. Definitely let us
Mhm.
know the title of your piece, whether you're playing or the choreography, right? As well as your choreography, right? So be your slate. Once you send those videos in, each genre has its own individualized scorecard. If it's dance, it's going to be Dawn and myself. If it's any other genre, we're bringing in our professional friends, where it's their genre, and they've individualized their own personal scorecards. And if you get at least, you need a score of 85 or above to move on to the next level, right? Against yourself, not against others. And as well as to actually make the cut, you have to at least get 95 or over, right? And once you're in that level, that's when you're going to actually be working with the master of your craft, right?
Woo.
So it's exciting.
It
And then
is.
with all of that, we have still our casting,
Yes.
right?
River Red Casting and our celebrity photographer, Mr. Michael Watts. So you'll have access to both, which I can't wait for that to
That's
happen. I can't
wonderful
wait for
because then
someone to
you're
get
like,
there
you're on
so
your
we can
way.
on their
Absolutely. They are
way.
on
And
their
then
way.
Erica,
Hmm.
we will definitely follow them in their career and then hopefully have them back on the
Yeah.
show to talk about their successes or failures or whatever it is. Just because
Or they can
again,
be
each
guests.
moment, yeah, they could be guests.
Yeah.
Exactly. So much
And help us
anything.
score because they remember
Right?
when.
Yes, I know. So before we get started, we have business week, right? Or business street. We
Yes.
have a special guest who happens to be a friend of ours who owns her own business and she's a dancer.
That's right.
So, right? So before we introduce Miss Marcia Dufresne. Let's just
Yes.
tell everybody a little bit about Marcia and how we know
Right.
Marcia.
So what's so exciting about this, and from the beginning, and again, we talk about like that crossover. So Marcia went to high school with us. She was also a dance major, right? So here we
Fabulous
are, this
dancer.
full circle, right?
Mhm.
And now here she is, like she's gone from being a dancer to now major
Real estate
real
agent.
estate agent. Like that's incredible. So once again, like for the dancers, you can do anything. Like once you're a
Yes.
dancer, dancers really can do anything. We can adjust. So
Hmm.
it's so exciting to have her on
Yay.
with us
So
today.
you ready, Erica, to bring her on? Dun, 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 dun,
Marcia.
Guys are funny.
Marcia. Woo-hoo.
So
Welcome to
happy that
Make
I
the
made the
Cut.
cut. Thank you.
Welcome to Make the Cut, Miss Marcia.
Love
Yes.
you. So
Well,
tell
thank
us
you.
about your fabulous career, Miss.
Yeah. So as you said, I was a dance major in high school, but switched it up, for business. I was at American Express for a while, JP Morgan. Then I took a break. And believe it or not, real estate is what afforded me to take a break from my corporate career
Nice.
because I own buildings. Like I own two buildings with my ex. And when it was time, I had needed to refocus. Like I wanted to spend more time at home and do some self-care and being able to sell one of my properties and utilize that equity that was in that house to technically buy me my freedom from corporate America. I was
Wow.
able to take some time off, focus on self-care and be at home. My boys were in middle school at the time. It was about 5 years ago. And when I decided to get back into the corporate, get back into business, I'm like, well, what can I do? And literally, I wasn't thinking about real estate as a skill set. I mean, I had done it for myself. We'd owned, bought, renovated, sold. I'd been a landlord, but it wasn't a skill set that you think about. So that's one thing I encourage people to do. You just write down all your skill sets because I wasn't thinking real estate is a skill set.
Hmm.
But I did write down my list to say, what would I want going back to work? So there were two things at the top of the list. The first was I wanted to have a flexible schedule. And the second was unlimited income potential. And real
Nice.
estate checked both of those buckets. So now I get to do what I did for myself over 20 years while working and raising a family for other people.
Wow. So what is the process? How does one get into becoming a real estate agent?
So,
Now
and
I know,
you,
are you in New York or Jersey? Where are
yes. No,
you?
I'm in New York. So I'm a licensed agent in New York. In New York, you have to take a 75-hour course and they do not skimp on the hours. So it's
Okay.
a course for 75 hours. Then you take the state test. And once you pass the test, you get a license, but you are not an agent as yet because
Oh,
all real estate agents need to work for a broker. Now, a broker is the one who actually owns the firm. Like I'm with Triple Mint, and Triple Mint is an excellent firm. We're in Manhattan and we're in New Jersey, but we work all over. And you basically interview with a real estate firm that you'd like to be with. So you're the one interviewing the firm, where it's usually the other way around. When you're going for an interview, they're interviewing you. Here, you're interviewing them. So you basically have your license under one of these real estate companies and you get about finding business. So we find business, we utilize our families and friends and different leads. And, we go from there.
okay.
So I work with buyers, sellers, renters, and landlords.
That's awesome.
It is. So here I go. Keep talking while I try to find your card so people can find you
How did
because
you like, do you feel like now with your real estate background,
mm,
right? Where was your, did you feel like any of that helped with your dancer discipline? Like how did your dancer discipline and everything that you used to be a dancer get you to where you are now? Or was any of
mhm.
that part of your growth, or you know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think having a background in dance, you're just even being aware of the arts and being in the arts world, I think it makes you a better human.
Gotcha.
And being a better human, you're able to
Mhm.
connect with other people on that level. And I think that translates. And also, you're talking about the discipline, Erica. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
how many hours a week did we practice, even in
Right.
school and out of school? You devote the same amount of time to
Right.
your craft, whatever that craft is. So my craft may have changed from dance into business, but
Right.
I carried along that discipline with me that I gained from, oh my God, how many years of dance?
Right.
And you bring that into whatever you do. And
Right.
also we are very graceful. So wherever we go, people always accuse me. They thought when I went to college, they thought I was stuck up because, they're like, oh, well, who does she think she is? But, that's your presence. You bring your presence wherever you go.
Right. I love that.
And we are so proud of you here. And I really hope that, again,
absolutely.
Even though I'm in Florida, but if I ever come Georgia. Back to New York, I will come see you.
No, but listen, but you can come to me now, because a part of us being a real estate agent is that we have a network of agents across the country. And we refer business out to them and they refer business to us. Nice. So that is part of my business, to be able to help you no matter where you are. So please come to me.
Nice. I love that. Nice. I did not know that.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
So before we
most people don't know that.
Yeah, see, that's why we did the show.
Right.
See how many lives.
Absolutely, right. And connecting, right? Staying connected.
Mm-hmm. So before we let you go, since you know that you love dance and we all love dance, would you like to stay on and watch the young lady, Miss Kylie Taylor?
Oh, absolutely. Yes? I enjoyed Lorenzo, so I'm looking forward to this.
Good.
Woo-hoo. Okay.
All right, Erica, take it away. Let's look at Miss Kylie Taylor.
Let's see her.
She's beautiful. She's from Orlando, Florida originally, but now she's in Nevada. And choreography is by Danielle Maas. Ooh, lovely. 14. Ooh. I don't think we were dancing like that at 14.
No, ma'am.
14.
No, ma'am, we were not dancing like that at 14.
Amazing, beautiful grace.
Maybe some of us were. I was not.
Yeah, some of us were, but
I was not that girl who danced like that.
Wow, just beautiful. And kudos to the choreographer. Beautiful. The choreographer did an excellent job.
Yes. Love, that music choice, everything. Mm-hmm. It was lovely. Lovely, lovely.
Yay.
All right, so let's get into it, girls.
Okay. So Erica usually goes first. She gives her thing. Then I go. And then I know you don't have a scorecard, but we trust you. Can still join in. And we love you. And we just come on in. Yeah. All right, Erica, hit it.
All right. So we first start off with grooming. And for grooming, you get the highest amount is 10. And so for grooming, once again, I gave her a 10 because I felt like grooming, costume, and appearance, that everything was neat. She didn't have hair in her way. Her clothing was, to me, age appropriate. So for grooming, for me, I gave her a 10.
And I gave her a 10 as well. So
Okay.
everything you just said, clean,
Right. Nice and
simple,
clean.
showed her
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Long hair was purposeful for that. She was able
Yes.
to rock
Yes.
and move it, but it wasn't
Yes.
in the way.
Right.
Just elegance.
Yes.
Okay, Marcia, grooming.
No, I totally agree. Very neat, clean. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
we got that. So the next is spacing. And spacing is with the use of floor. And that's worth 15 points. And I gave her 15 for that as well. And I loved, once again, especially like this is new, right? In this age, well, now it's not really new, girl. It's been a whole year now with this new COVID
Yeah.
thing. But with the having to submit a tape. So having those markings, and she really did. She used her spacing. We were still able to see her. So I thought that was wonderful.
I agree. I actually gave her a 15 as well. So we are just on the same
Okay.
wavelength today. So absolutely. And I love the markings on the floor. I saw how it was a square. I saw there was a circle in between there so that we could mark when things had to go around. And so, and she used her space very professionally. Great. And that's again to the choreographer. I'm sure the choreographer gave her those notes. Kudos. Okay. What you got, Marcia?
No, I loved it. She went,
Mm-hmm.
she went all around. She used the space. She was up. She was down. I mean, if you're thinking
Yes.
about space, and not only, as you know,
Yes.
horizontally, she vertically, and she gave us
Yes.
all the dimensions. So
Good point.
I
Yep.
agree with your 15.
Yep. Okay. Level of difficulty, Erica.
I'm coming. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Level of difficulty. I gave her once again 15. Only because I feel like, once again, like although we weren't dancing like that at 14 and 15, these kids are. So a lot of these kids already do gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these kids, like as part of their dance studio, right? They're including it. Like with us, we just did technique. Graham, Horton, it was just technique. Some of us were not privy to also throwing in that gymnastics. So I feel like with the level of difficulty, you can only go up to 15 points. I only gave her a 10 only because I feel like at 14 and you are dancing, most of us already at 14 were doing double turns. We were already doing jeté. Like there was nothing that she did that was just like, oh my gosh, how she's doing that, except for all the gymnastic moves. And once again, I feel like for this time, other dancers are still doing the same thing. So that's the only reason why I came down with the level of difficulty, only because of the times of where we are now, not because of where we used to be, but definitely because of where we are now. So she only got a 10 for me from that.
Wow. Okay. Well, I gave out of a 15, I gave a 15. And let me tell you why I gave a 15. And this could be because she was my student, Marcia. So I've seen the growth. So I'm looking at her like, wow, she's really holding that. Wow, she
Gotcha.
remembered to rotate.
Yeah.
Wow, she can handle this now. So I'm looking at it a different eye, and that's so interesting that you should say that, because you look at
But I
the
have
same
a question,
student.
Dawn, because I'm still working on this. With everything that you just said, then is that technique or is that level of difficulty?
It's both.
Okay.
Because the technique is allowing her to do that level of difficulty. How is she going to be able to do that without that?
Okay.
No, help me understand.
Well, I just feel like, once again, like say we have had some dancers where you see them do some kind of choreography and you're like, wow, that level is kind of, that's up there, right?
Yes.
Technique wise, yes, I can see how it's like, oh, she held that leg, she did this, she did that. Because I did go a little higher with the technique because of that.
Don't give it away yet. Okay.
No, I'm just trying, because still, even with remember, for me, I'm still having a hard. That's why I'm saying help me, especially because you're the choreographer. So that's why, for me, it's a little.
Honestly, Marcia and I missed everything you just said. We're gonna have to just go real still.
I actually heard her.
Hear. What is? Okay, can you repeat it, because I didn't. It froze for me.
So I think, Erica, the question is level of difficulty versus technique. So I think this is how I look at it. The choreography could be difficult, whereas she could have taken some risks. I didn't see a lot of risks. I saw, there could have been some big moves. There could have been, and even if she didn't land it, so she could have had some riskier moves, maybe some riskier connections. And if she didn't make them, then that went towards her technique.
Correct.
But it was still risky. You know, the routine itself was still dynamic. It still took some risk. And then her technique comes into play. Well, was she able to execute? So if she wasn't able to execute well. So execution, I think, is technique. And I think choreography and the level of moves and the dynamics and the risks taken, I would think that is more.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's why I feel like for me, that's why I felt like it was only a 10 and not a 15. Okay. I've seen, like, even with your choreography, Dawn, I've seen difficult choreography, right? Our level of difficulties within choreography. So that's all.
I'm smiling.
It felt a little safe.
I'm smiling and waving. Okay. Thank you.
She's like,
okay. What does that mean? What is the smile? What is the smiling and waving? What did I miss?
So I gave the level of difficulty. I gave her 15. So we're gonna. Last week, Marcia, we had a thing on when I was taking a note. It was about taking a note and saying thank you and keep moving on. So I am taking the note, and moving on. Thank you and moving on.
Yep. So now we're moving on to technique then. And technique is the body alignment, jumps, turns, leaps, and control. And so I felt like her technique was beautiful, right? Now, were there some things that she could tweak on? Absolutely. But I mean, her developes, her feet, like everything that we've been talking about, I think even with other dancers, she actually is using her technique, right? She's flowing, she's fluid, you know? And so for her technique, I actually gave her an 18 because I felt like her technique was really good. So.
Okay, that's interesting. Out of a 20, I gave her an 18 as well, Erica.
Okay, see?
Okay, so, yeah. I was looking for more rotation. Again, she knows this stuff for me. And then the upper her torso, I'm huge on torso.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's because we have an African dance background and we learn how to do, you know, the isolations and all of that at an early age that I expect maybe others to know how to do that. But I would like to see it. And I think you gave me that word, you helped me, fluid. Everything just makes it look more fluid. So I would have liked to see more of that in her movements. And then, but the rotation and plies. I'm huge on plies. And she has those long, gorgeous legs. But I would just like, you know, more plie so that the movement just goes more like this. Yeah. So that's what I gave her for the technique.
Okay. What do you think, Marcia?
No, her technique was on point. I think she had beautiful lines. I mean, that's what took me, even with her arms and the way she moved. I mean, I just, you know, it pulled you in. It pulled you in even when she was on the floor. She did that arch on her back. And it was like, you just felt it. I know. I mean, it was beautiful to watch. I think she was graceful. Her lines were excellent. Yeah. You did a good job, Dawn.
No. Okay. So
well, you gave her, you helped her out when she was coming up.
Thank you. So let me just.
It's still there. It's still there.
And still, it is.
It's still
thank you.
there.
Yeah.
It's still there. Like whatever you taught her, absolutely, and that's very, very key, right? That foundation, and it's still there. And yeah, I feel like she was fluid. Like we've had some that were not fluid. Right. And so I think for her, again, at only being 14, I feel like she was fluid, you know. She did with the music. Can she do more? Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, she was fluid. But when I have my notes, and I'm going to say at the end, I think you're going to understand.
Okay.
She was fluid. But you know how I am.
Yeah.
You know the total vision of what I like. So again, I'm just going based on me, and I'll talk about that at the end, and maybe you'll understand. You got to remember, guys, we come from a place just of excellence, of seeing true excellence, coming from New York, seeing dancers that are amazing all the time, having them as our teachers. And all we can do is just teach what we were taught.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to just pass that down so that everyone can be excellent. That's all.
I understand. All right. So next is expression.
I missed that one.
Flexibility. No, performance.
No, performance.
Yeah, performance. So that's facial expressions, confidence, and energy. And again, like I was grateful, like to be able to see her face again.
Yes.
And I felt like she did have the facial expressions. She did have confidence, and like she did have the energy. So I gave her an 18 for this as well, because I felt like she was present. There was like these little steps and these little nuances with the piano that she connected with. And I really enjoyed that, you know. And again, for her to be able to pick up on that, whether it was her as a dancer or whether it was the choreographer who picked up on those nuances, they was still able to connect that. And so I enjoyed that. So I gave her an 18 for that as well.
Okay, very good. And I gave her a 19.
Okay.
Yes. For all that what you said. Yes.
Marcia? I agree. I've
See,
been waiting for
we're fair. I think we're fair. We're fair on this show.
Yes. Yes.
You know? Okay, next is musicality, flow of motion, timing, and creativity. And again, for that, I gave her an 18 because I felt like there was a flow of motion, the timing and the creativity. Like I liked it. So I gave her 18 again.
Okay, I'm feeling okay. Well, I gave her a 20. Now you're making me feel really bad. I gave her a 20
you gave
because
her a 20. That's great.
I was really okay. Again, I guess I'm coming from the eye of wow, she's really grown, you know? So I'm looking at just her progress and all, and I gave her a 20. Everything you said about those little nuances, she was in those pockets, in and out. I saw that. Yeah. But here's the deal that you guys don't know. She's been actually doing that since she's been like a baby. She's one of those gifted students that if you teach her a combination, she's that one that just captures everything. She's like a human recorder. So she is just a natural at everything. But so anyway, I gave her a 20 for that.
Okay.
Musicality. Marcia.
Yeah.
Marcia gave her 30.
I thought it was good. I think she. So I'm trying to think back, and I thought it was good. I guess there weren't any parts, I think, in the music where she wasn't moving with the music. But I guess for me, I like a little bit more exciting music, you know, because I mean, but I don't know what category that is, but but no, she was. I think for the music, she was able to execute well with it.
I agree. So. All right, let's tally it up.
Now we're gonna do total scores. Now that I'm looking at it, let's see, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, Dawn, I changed my score a little bit from our previous conversation.
Okay.
What's your total, Dawn?
Well, I gotta do mine again because Marcia is on here and she used to be an executive. Let me make sure I got these numbers right. You know, Marcia would be like, that don't add up.
I wasn't keeping track, so
okay. No. So my total score came up to 94.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marcia, a 97. A 97.
Okay.
So what's the two together, y'all? Hit it. Because, I don't know. 97?
You got 94 and 97?
Look, think of my
191 divided by 2.
Look at Marcia. She can do it in her head.
11. So 95.
95. So she made it.
95.
Oh.
Yeah.
First one.
God, you were sweating there, huh? So is she your first 95?
She is.
This is our first 95. And what's so exciting about her, Marcia, I don't know if you've been following the show, but she's also a beautiful singer. And so that's why we were saying, possible triple threat right here, right? Yeah. So she's already a gorgeous dancer. She's a beautiful singing voice. The only thing we haven't seen her do is do a monologue, but maybe she will, maybe she won't. But at least we've seen her do that again, with her dance and her movement. So because of this, right, shout out to, we have someone already waiting in the wings at Juilliard, right? And so hopefully we can get him on the show and see what happens, because that's what we do here. Like we say what we mean and we mean what we say. So we're not just like tagging people along, without really coming through.
Right.
So we're excited for this.
I know. So he'll come
great.
on, view the tape, and then from then on it goes off into his hands. So that's amazing.
That's so exciting.
Well, does she have to submit again, or will he view the same number?
Well, right now it can be the same number, because now there's no need for her to submit again, because she technically made the cut.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
she really did.
Dawn, aren't you excited? This is one of your students.
I mean, like, yes.
Dawn is in shock. Dawn's like, wait.
It has never happened before. This is awesome. Well, I'm not even going to read my notes that I had now. Forget that. We'll just leave it to the side.
Why? No, go ahead and read your notes.
Well,
Let's
I just
hear
wrote
it.
the great points about her. Is I love that leap, right? Do you remember that gorgeous leap
Yeah.
she did at the end? Amazing.
Yeah.
Lines for days, right? But I
Mhm.
put that I would really like, and this is what I talked about with the fluidity. I'd really like to see the entire body move as one and not in sections. Like I don't want like, and what I always try to tell my students who automatically have legs, because that sometimes they're just born with that. Dance like you don't have them. So what else do you have? Right?
Right.
So pretend you can't put your leg up in the air. How else are you going to hold my attention? So what I mean by that is dance, the whole body should be moving and not just the leg goes up and then the arm goes up and then I turn my head and then it should just be leg, arm, like all together for me. And dance from the heart. You dance from the center out. I know a lot of times ballerinas dance out in, everything is about the limbs and then, but for contemporary and modern dance and African dance and all the cultural dances, you dance from the heart out. So that's just what I meant when I said that.
So you would prefer the movement to be more like, if it was a musical instrument, I'm envisioning with the way you're saying, like an accordion. You know how an accordion is always connected, it stretches out, but then it comes back in, but it's always connected. So that's the kind of movement you would but that's to you how it should be connected. Okay.
Yes.
I can see that. Yeah, no, that makes sense because I think that's what all of us want to see it. Because it used to, I know all of us when we had our training, it was like that training, like with a rubber band, right? You're gonna stretch it out, but you're still connected, and then you come back in, right? Instead of just like hit it, come back. Like that's not a rubber band. Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's valid. That's a valid point, Dawn. Yeah.
I'm just so happy that she made it. Oh, I'm so excited.
And she deserved it because not that we haven't had talented performers. We've had some talented performers. And but congratulations and kudos to her because she's a beautiful dancer.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Kylie. And we'll get in touch with you about what's coming up next.
Absolutely.
Okay. So before we move on, do I have to share her thing one more time? Oh, just verbally give it out, Marcia. If anybody wants real estate anywhere in the world,
they're not going to know how to spell my name. It's Marcia
Give your phone
Dufresne.
number.
Yeah. So my phone number is just call business now. I might give out the phone number.
All right, so hold on.
Just give out your website.
No. It's
just give out her website. Here it is. There you go. There's her information. Yep. So licensed real estate salesperson, cell 347-323-3279.
Amen.
And she's also on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I'm happy to be the first business street person. And you took it all the way back to high school.
Yes, very proud of you.
Shout out
we will
to
be
PA.
in touch. Shout out to PA.
PA.
Yeah, PA, you know.
You know.
Okay, guys. So before we let Marcia go, Erica's going to wrap it up with Women's Month. I don't have my person this week.
I don't have my person this week.
So we're going to get on it next week.
We're going to get on it next week. But we both do have Marcia because she's a woman and she's a businesswoman. So we both have her. So it worked out.
Yep.
So that's how we're starting it. And more to
I'll go into
come.
next week. Next week. Okay, so we have another dancer, Marcia. We have
I'll be watching.
Daria Henderson. She's from Orlando too.
Okay.
And she comes from Heather Southwell's camp. She's an amazing choreographer.
Okay.
Out here in Orlando. So wait till you guys see her. She's something else.
Okay. Nice.
So thank you guys again, all the people out there watching. Thank you so much for giving us your time and energy, all the millions, Erica, all the seasons that we put into doing this. Last words, Erica.
Marcia, I'm so very proud of you. And thank you
Thank you.
once again for just showing the diversity, right, for a dancer. So you go from a dancer to a very well-versed real estate agent, right? And she
Exactly.
talked about how being a dancer, because once again, we do this a lot of times, Marcia, for students, but being a dancer, it gives you that presence, right? So the minute you walk into a room, people see that you have presence, you have grace, discipline. Miss Marcia talked about discipline and how discipline in this world can carry you so far. So last week we talked about humility. This week we're talking about discipline. And Marcia, thank you so very much for that.
Well, thank you guys for
Yay.
having me. This was great.
Thank you. See you
Happy
guys
I
next
made
week.
the cut.
You made the cut, Marcia.
You made the cut.
Bye, guys. Thank you.